What is up everyone and welcome to some more F1 My Team Career Mode. Last time out we were at the Chinese Grand Prix, and after we had an underwhelming qualifying performance, we qualified P4 but we were definitely expecting more. We managed to fight our way through the field and end up in that coveted P1 spot and take our first win of the season, and we currently lead the championship by about 22 points. However, now coming up is the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, which, if you have not watched any of my previous seasons, you may not know, is one of my weaker tracks on the calendar. I really just can't get the car hooked up around here, no matter how hard I try. I feel like I'm not as fast as the AI, no matter what difficulty I've been playing on. And so I think that this track is going to be a bit of a struggle for me. I think, if I can get into the top 5 here, that would be an ideal scenario. Any better than that is just sort of the icing on the cake. Really, the goal here for me is to maintain the lead of the championship, I would say. And if we can do that, then I'll be pretty happy, even if the weekend itself doesn't go particularly well. However, there is forecast a lot of rain. It's forecast to rain in practice 1, in qualifying, and in the sprint. So we have a lot to worry about. We need to make sure that we can get on top of the weather. Make sure that we go out at the right time during qualifying, all that kind of thing. If we want to make sure that we can, qualify well and hopefully end up in a good space come the end of the sprint and the end of the race. We did all our running on wet compound tyres in this session, so we didn't end up being anywhere near like any of the top guys, but it's fine. It's just practice. It doesn't really matter where you are in practice. All that matters is that you get through it, you do it, you get the resource points, and then you get out, and that's all I really care about. And now we're going to move into qualifying, which comes immediately after practice 1 on a sprint weekend, and then there'll be one more practice session afterwards, which I'll probably just simulate like I usually do with any practice session after practice 1. But like I said, top 5 is going to be the goal here, and we'll see if we can achieve a top 5 finish in qualifying to maybe try and challenge for top 5 or maybe even a podium come race day. But it's going to be tough. Like I said, a track I really struggle around. So I think that as long as we can get right in the mix, we stand a pretty good chance of maintaining our championship lead. Currently, the second place spot in the championship is occupied by Alex Albon, Max Verstappen, and Lance Stroll, all tied on 39 points. I don't know how they do the tiebreaker system there, because I think Albon is currently in second place, but either way, I doubt they'll all be tied on points come the end of the season. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with those guys. We do our first run on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. We do a 1:15.3, and I think that we'll probably have to improve on that time if we want to make it through. But lo and behold, we do go on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, but we only improve by about 1/10 actually. So despite the fact that we probably would have liked to have improved by a bit more than that, we do manage to scrape through in P14, and it's a pretty good result in the end. Albon only 7th as well. You can see that most of the people that you would have expected to get through did get through. Both McLarens, both Red Bulls, I think both Ferraris got through as well. So no real surprises or shocks in this session, and we will see if there is any upsets in Q2. At the moment, it's looking like it could be me, unless I can really get my act together as we go out on another fresh set of soft compound tyres, and we do a 1:14.4 this time. So safe to say we found a little bit of improvement at least. But will it be enough to get us through to the next session? Well, the answer is yes. We go out again on the same set of tyres, and we don't improve at all. But it's good enough to see us through comfortably into Q3 in P5. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, and I hope that we can get sort of a similar result come Q3. Carlos Sainz is out, which is perhaps a little bit of a surprise. Neither Mercedes making it through either. In fact, it looks like George Russell might have been knocked out in Q1. So yeah, very uncharacteristic for him, but it is what it is. Other than that, Stroll being eliminated, perhaps not something that we particularly expected at this stage of the season, but both Alpines and both McLarens making it through, despite the fact that just a few races ago you would have had to have called them the worst 2 cars on the grid. So a solid performance from those guys, and we'll see what they can do in Q3. Max Verstappen kicks off with a 1:14.1. We do not match that. We do a 1:14.5, and that is probably going to be the best time we get this weekend because this was our last fresh set of soft compound tyres. We used 2 sets in Q1, which means that we only had one for Q3 and Q2. So yeah, despite the fact that we are doing another run, you can see I haven't improved at all. 5/10 down, we've still got a couple corners to go through, so I think this is going to be no better than P7 for me. I think I'm the last person to cross the line now. So, yeah, Leclerc down in an uncharacteristic 9th as well. Albon only 5th as well, so I'd be very interested to see who the top 4 are. But, yeah, we take P7 to finish in Q3, and not quite the result I was hoping for, but maybe we can find a bit of pace in the sprint. You know, we got 2 cracks of the whip this time, and, yeah, you can see that it was Ricciardo, Verstappen and Norris, and then Esteban Ocon in P4, with his teammate Tsunoda in P6. So yeah, really solid performance for the Alpines, and maybe they'll pick up big points from this weekend. Who knows? P4 and P6 is a very good place to be starting for them. It means they're on course to score in the sprint and the race if they can hold on to those positions. But you know, no points are scored on, well, I guess it's Friday, isn't it? And points are scored on Saturdays this time. So yeah, that's an expression that doesn't really work that well anymore. But anyway, we move forward. You know, we're just gonna have to see what we can do from P7. It's not the end of the world. We can definitely make our way through the field, especially ahead of the Alpines. I think those guys will be our main targets in this race. If we can get ahead of both Tsunoda and Ocon, then we'll be looking good, I think. And then hopefully we'll be on course for at least like a P5 finish, like I said, and maintaining the lead of the championship into the next race, which will be Spain, because there's no Miami this time around. But it does look like it might rain towards the end of the sprint. The rain actually never came in qualifying, but let's see if it's going to come in time for the sprint.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Daniel Ricciardo has a clear view ahead of him from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Ocon, Alex Albon and Tsunoda, Robinson, Fittipaldi, Leclerc and Pierre Gasly, Sainz, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou and Latifi, Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Felipe Drugovich and Robert Schwartzman, Lundgaard, Magnussen, Russell and Théo Pourchaire. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, I think that we stand a very good chance of at least scoring a few points in this sprint. Maybe not quite as many as we were hoping for. But with one of our closest rivals out of the points, one of them starting in 5th, the only person we really have to worry about closing us down at this exact moment in time is Max Verstappen, who sits in P2. And if he can jump, I think it's Ricciardo on pole, actually, if I'm not mistaken. It might be Norris, but I don't actually know. If he can jump the McLaren, let's say, off the start, it is Ricciardo. I can see now Norris in P3. So yeah, if he can jump Ricciardo off the start, then yeah, he could potentially pose a threat to our lead on this championship. But yeah, anyway, here we go as we get ready to go and the lights come on. And the lights go out, and it was just long enough that it was starting to become awkward. But we do manage to get away pretty well. We're already racing alongside Yuki Tsunoda, and I think we'll be able to cover him off into turn 1 quite easily. We're going to look up the inside here, and actually we go a little bit deep as Norris locks up and drives Verstappen off the track there, I think. So it's a miracle those guys all made it through, but somehow they did. I had to take evasive action to the runoff area, and somehow I didn't get penalised for that, nor was I made to give the positions back or anything, even though that was the most blatant corner cut I have ever done in 142 episodes of my team career mode. I don't think it gets more blatant than that, I've got to be honest. And yet the FIA were just like, yeah, I sleep, dude. So we're in P2 now, and it's as simple as that. You know, I didn't really pay too much attention to it at the time, but yeah, we gained 5 positions off of that start due to that quarter cut. And if it was real racers, I probably would give that position back. But because it's AI, I'm just like, well, if the AI's not telling me to give the position back, why would I? You know. And now we're going to see if we can close down Ricciardo for the lead of the sprint. And wow, this was not what I was expecting was going to happen here. You know, if we can finish in this kind of position, then we will be looking incredibly good. Albon up to P4 as well, and it's been an amazing start for our team. Meanwhile, the Alpines have really struggled. I think they're down to like 7th and 10th at this point, so yeah, really bad start for them. But we're within a second of Daniel Ricciardo, so as long as we can stay within this DRS range, we might be able to pose a bit of a challenge towards him on the ensuing laps. But yeah, DRS obviously not enabled until lap 3, so we're going to have to wait a little bit longer until we know for certain whether we can get past him. So the order of business for now is just staying within his DRS range for as long as we possibly can. But we might not have too long to hang in there because, yeah, I think we're getting some instant karma here for my dodgy overtake at the beginning of the race. Because, yeah, I think this is going to be a mechanical failure, unfortunately. You know, we've managed to make it through the first 3 races with a lot of consistency, and yeah, it looks like that's gonna come to an abrupt end here in Imola. Yeah, it's an ICE failure, you can see there, and not really what I wanted, but that's how Formula 1 goes sometimes. You know, sometimes the components fail and there's nothing you can do about it. And this is one of those times, you know. I'm just gonna have to struggle my way, not back into the pits, but over to the marshal's post right by the pits, and that is the end of the sprint for me. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, maybe a bit of karma for me getting away with an overtake like that. They were like, "Yeah, you will be able to get away with an overtake like that, but it will come at the cost of your Grand Prix." And you know, it is what it is. And we'll just see if we can recover anything in the race now. You know, this is not great, but I mean, I've recovered to 3rd from this position before in Imola, so who knows what I can do when we get into the next race.
Let's see how the drivers' standings have changed. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. Let's move on to the constructors. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
A strong performance from Albon sees him rocket his way up into 2nd place. Verstappen actually only ended up 7th, so he must have had some kind of issue there. Maybe he got some damage or something, I don't know. But yeah, in any case, a strong performance from Albon, and it puts him in the box seat actually to maybe win the, I say the box seat, it puts him in the 2nd place seat to maybe win the race tomorrow. You know, I think he's probably got a bit more pace in him than Ricciardo's got. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what Albon can do. But yeah, an abrupt end to my sprint, and I'll be hoping to bounce back. But it remains to be seen. I won't make the same mistake I made in Brazil when I had a DNF in the sprint. I will be changing the engine component because yeah, I didn't forget this time, and that means we'll be starting plumb last. But hopefully we can make some kind of recovery when we get into the race.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters wearing red today, and they've all turned out for what we're expecting will be a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula 1 tracks as it's taken anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Daniel Ricciardo starts from pole position today, and Alex Albon lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Leclerc, Pierre Gasly and Tsunoda, Verstappen, Russell, Sainz and Mick Schumacher, Fittipaldi, Oscar Piastri, Guan Yu Zhou and Stroll, Drugovich, Magnussen, Nicholas Latifi and Teo Pourchaire, Schwartzman, Lundgaard, Ocon, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Robinson. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Can we talk about Mercedes? We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs. But this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this for...
Yeah, whatever. We're just gonna get straight into it. Another waffle from Davidson and Crofty that didn't really mean anything. Pretty inconsequential, all things considered. And yeah, we are about to begin what I hope will be a at least 12-car fight back into the points at Imola. If there's one thing that is definitely going to happen here, it was going to be some drama and some intrigue, I imagine. Ocon starting on those medium tyres just in front of me. Hopefully, hopefully we'll be able to get past him in a quick and efficient manner. Hopefully we won't get held up by him for too long, because that could really throw a spanner in the works for us. But yeah, I want to just try and carve my way through the field as quickly and efficiently as I possibly can. The lights start coming on as soon as we line up on the grid. And the lights go out. Again, they take a little while, but this time not quite as long. And once again, I'm racing an Alpine off the start. But this time, I do not get anywhere near the getaway I got last time compared to Ocon's teammate of Tsunoda. And yeah, we're going to have to settle into to P22 for the time being, and maybe try and fight back a little bit later. I'm just very tentative for now, not taking too many risks. I want to keep the car clean. We almost go into the back of Lundgaard there. That would have been bad, but I think we have got ahead of Esteban Ocon for the time being. But actually, no, he dives us back at the following chicane. Once again, I'm too tentative through there, and that allows him through. But maybe we'll be able to go around the outside of some of these guys at this hairpin. Let's see if we can get Ocon here. Maybe it looks like we've just about managed it, but I'm not sure whether he's going to attack us back up the inside. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. I back out of the move a little bit too early. You can see he is going up the inside. He actually pushes me off the track there, and yeah, he once again moves back up into 21st. So at the towards the close of lap 1, it's looking like I haven't made up any positions yet, and this is not the start I was hoping for. But Ocon just very, very aggressive into some of these corners. Not much I could do. I don't know what it is about the AI at Imola in particular. They seem to be super aggressive into like every corner, and they will just fight you super hard. And there's just a lot of corners on this track you really cannot run wheel to wheel through, no matter how hard you try. It's not like other circuits where, you know, there's some slow speed corners mixed up with some high speed corners. You know, they're pretty much all fast corners on this track. So yeah, it's quite dangerous to try and go wheel to wheel through all of them. You know, I don't want to do the whole is so dangerous at that speed thing or whatever. But I don't know. I do feel like that sometimes, that that the AI kind of drive with reckless abandon. Anyway, we are on lap 6 now, and you can see that I'm just kind of stuck in this DRS train at the moment. You know, I'm not falling away from these guys. I think Norris had some early contact and had to pit at some point. But yeah, I'm not falling away from these guys. I'm just kind of sticking with them, and I don't know. This is not turning into the race I was hoping I'd be having. You know, we're already nearly a quarter of the way through it, and I've yet to really make up any positions. So yeah, hopefully we can start making some overtakes soon, and find our way into a better spot. You can see as we move forward a little bit on lap 7 now, I'm a lot closer to Ocon as we come to the final chicane, and yeah, he does go wheel to wheel with me through that chicane, and that's held him up a lot actually. So I think with the DRS coming up now, we should be able to challenge him on the pit straight. You know, he's over a second behind Lundgaard in front, so there should be no way that he'll be able to get any DRS here. And as long as he doesn't do some battery magic or traction magic or something like that, I think we will be able to close him down in time to make it to the first chicane. And we go wheel to wheel with him now, but not for very long. You can see we absolutely blast past him on the straight. And yeah, no dive bombs from him on this occasion. A little bit too far back to think about going for that. And we finally, after 8 laps, get ahead of him. And now we move on to lap 9, and I'm actually boxing a couple laps early this time. The undercut has proven to work for me on a few occasions already this season, and I'm hoping it's going to come up trumps for me once again here in Imola as we pit 2 laps earlier than planned. And I'm hoping that we can use this to get ahead of hopefully these Alfa Romeos in front and maybe a few more cars. You know, if we can undercut a few cars, then that's going to make our life a little bit easier. I mean that we don't have to make as many overtakes on the actual circuit if we don't need to. So yeah, I'm hoping that this will be the correct strategy. I know I have more pace than these guys, but it's just really difficult to overtake. It's really easy to get stuck into a DRS train. I say the only really safe overtaking spot on this track is probably down at turn 1. And even that is a bit dangerous because sometimes the AI can dive bomb you into that one pretty hard. So yeah, we're just trying to take this super conservatively. You see, we have got ahead of Christian Lundgaard here. And now we're going to be challenging Kevin Magnussen into turn 1. But he does manage to stay ahead for the time being. And hopefully we'll be able to get past him sooner rather than later. And we come down to the end of lap 12 and we move on to lap 13. A few more cars have come into the pits. You're going to see exactly who those are in a second. It's Porsche, Schwartzman and Latifi. And we're going to get ahead of all of those guys. And we're now up into 18th, which I think will become 17th at least, once Ocon pits as well, because he was behind us. But if we keep getting held up like this by Magnussen, then maybe not. Lap 14 now, and we're looking at Teo Porsche, and this is his weekend coming to an abrupt end as well. Lap 14, and the Alfa Romeo is giving out, unfortunately, and he's going to park his car up nicely behind this tree. Yeah, and that was the end of his race weekend. So anyway, we move on to lap 16 now, and you can see that I'm still stuck behind Kevin Magnussen. A few cars coming into the pits on this occasion, including Ocon, and also Magnussen's teammate Drugovich, who's going to come out on top of this battle. Let's see, I think it's going to be Magnussen, but he actually falls off the track and bottles it, and Drugovich has done something in one corner that I couldn't do in 5 laps. And now we move on to the start of lap 17, and I'm going to see if I can use the DRS to get past Drugovich, who has done me a massive favour, and maybe he can do me an even bigger favour by not fighting me too hard into turn 1. We're going wheel to wheel, there's a yellow flag, and I was just ahead getting into the yellow flag section. Yuki Tsunoda off track, and as soon as I get past, a safety car is called for Yuki Tsunoda, who I think might have been beached down at the apex of turn 1, but I'm not 100% sure what happened with him. I think he's managed to keep going. You know, it didn't say that he's out with the Grand Prix, so I'm not really sure what happened with that. But yeah, there is a safety car nonetheless. That's going to allow us to catch up to Fittipaldi and Joe in front. And now we are going to try and get ahead of Fittipaldi on the safety car restart if we can. Lap 20, the safety cars come in, and yeah, this is going to be our time to shine if we possibly can. We're not quite close enough to Fittipaldi on this occasion, and I think we're actually going to come under a little bit of pressure from Drugovich here on the run down to the following chicane. You can see that he's very close behind me. I'm weaving to cover him off. That was a bit dirty of me, but we do manage to hold on to the position. You know, I didn't want him to overtake me because I knew that, like, I definitely am faster than him, but I knew if he overtook me, it would just be really annoying. We do go for the move on Fittipaldi now, and we're going wheel to wheel with him as we come on the run up to this fast, sweeping left-hander who's going to win out on this occasion. I actually go off the track there, but I think I was marginally ahead before I went off the track, and so I'm allowed to keep the position. And yeah, we're now up into, I think this is P13? Yes. So yeah, 13th place for us. And as we move on to the start of lap 25 now, I think it's about to become P12 as there is someone retiring from this Grand Prix, and it's George Russell, who's managed to make a massive fight back this weekend, only for it to end in disaster. You know, he was eliminated in Q1, made his way up into 8th in the sprint and scored a point for his troubles, and was running in the points quite comfortably as well. But yeah, that's the end of his race weekend, and I'm hoping I'm going to permanently end Mercedes' race weekend now. Obviously, I don't mean I'm going to take Joe out, but rather I'm going to overtake him. Which direction are we going to go? We're actually going to go up the inside at turn 1 here. He's going to have to give us the space, but he runs himself out of road and goes off the track, and yeah, disaster for the Mercedes driver. And you can see I made no contact with him. I definitely left him enough room, but it didn't work out for him on this occasion. So yeah, that is the end of his race weekend, and now we've only got one more position to make up to get back into the points, and this was what we were targeting at the beginning of the race. So now all we have to do is get past Piastri. We are right alongside him now into the braking zone. He's going to go a little bit deep. We make a tiny bit of contact, but I don't think there's any damage, and we managed to get the switch back on him and make our way into P10. So now we've just got to hold off this position for the best part of 2 laps, and if we could do that, then we can get a coveted point in this race. We move now to the beginning of the final lap of the Grand Prix. I think Albon is still leading. He's been leading quite comfortably for pretty much the entire race since about the first corner. And yeah, that is going to mean that he is definitely going to take the lead of the Drivers' Championship from under my nose. But not much I can do when I have a DNF in the sprint that makes me start last in a race where it is incredibly hard to overtake, especially when the AI was all tucked into a DRS train pretty much all race. You know, there was no isolated fights I could take or anything like that. It was all DRS trains the whole way. So the fact that I was even able to make up as many positions as I did, I'm honestly pretty happy with. The tyres now, I've been on them for 23 laps, so it's no surprise that they are starting to get a little bit worn. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think Piastri is going to put too much pressure on us. You can see we've had a better run through Agua Minerale than he has, and that should spell the end of any kind of challenge that he's going to put on us. Lance Stroll again managed to battle his way back into the points from P16, so that was a good result for him. P9, he'll be pretty content with that, I imagine. Yeah, it's going to harm his standing a little bit in the driver's standings, but I'm sure that he'll be able to bounce right back in the following race. And we are going to round the final corner, run up to the line and cross it to take P10 and a very well-deserved point in this race. My God, that was one of the hardest races I think I've ever had to do, and I'm very, very pleased with the outcome of it. You know, it was just chaos the whole time, but definitely worth it in the end.
A nearly flawless performance here then, and a commanding victory. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way onto the podium now.
Yeah, congratulations to Albon. Like I said, if he wins the championship, obviously I'll be a little bit disappointed, but I won't be as upset as if we lose the Constructors' Championship, because that's what we're really going for here. 3-time Constructors' Champion, 4-time drivers if we can get it. But yeah, good result for him. Leclerc ending up on the podium as well, a very impressive drive from him, and then Ricciardo taking the final spot on the rostrum here in Imola.
After this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the Drivers' Table. Alex Albon takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
Let's move on to the Constructors. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
I can't really claim to understand why Esteban Ocon was given driver of the day here, but yeah, I don't really mind at the end of the day because I'm the one who got a point. No point handed out for driver of the day. Maybe if there was, then maybe I would try and be a bit more aggressive. But yeah, that is absolutely fine. You know, we absolutely pocketed him after lap 8 and didn't really see him again after that. Alpine actually having a nightmare weekend, really, if you think about it. You know, they qualified P4 and P6, and they finished one driver in P7 in the sprint, I think, and then both drivers out of the points come race day. So yeah, 2 points when they were looking on form to score, you know, double digits worth of points at the start of the weekend. A very disappointing weekend for them, I'm sure. But yeah, not such a disappointing recovery for us. I would say, you know, disappointing in the sense that we had the DNF in the sprint, but I'm pretty pleased with the fact that we actually managed to we actually managed to recover pretty well in the race to get P10. You know, I know we made a few aggressive moves here and there, but at the end of the day, it's nothing the AI aren't doing on this track either. You got to beat them at their own game in order to get away with these kinds of things, and that's kind of what we did on this occasion. Next up is Spain, which, as you know, is not a track I've ever won at, but it is one that I am pretty consistent at in terms of pace. I've had a number of fightbacks through the field there. I'm pretty good at overtaking cars. I think my best result was a second place. The top step of the podium has always eluded me there. And whilst I'm no longer eligible to win at every circuit that I've raced at, because I'm not going to be doing another Australian Grand Prix in this game, I would still like to win at as many of those circuits as I can. There's only a few left that I still have the opportunity to win at. Spain, Canada, Hungary, Italy, and Japan, and the USA. I think that's it. I think those are the only ones that I've never won at. Oh, and Azerbaijan as well. Actually, there's a fair amount of them then, isn't there? Well, anyway, it's neither here nor there. We can worry about that later. But yeah, we had a pretty good race, all things considered, I would say. You know, I looked like I had the pace over these guys. Getting stuck in a DRS train is always difficult, but I think I made the best of it. And even walking away with 1 point felt pretty good from that. You know, I felt like I deserved a lot more, but, you know, when things don't fall your way, they don't fall your way. And yeah, I don't know. We'll just see if we can bounce back in Spain. I think we're going to comfortably win this rivalry to Leclerc. Only 5 more points that we've got to score over the next couple of races. I don't think, unless we have back-to-back DNFs, he's really got anything that he can do to get back into the fight. If I continue out qualifying him in quali, then there's pretty much nothing that he'll be able to do. And yeah, I don't know. I just hope that we can have a better weekend, better reliability next weekend. Hopefully the ICE failure won't come back to bite us in terms of penalties a lot later in the season. I don't think it will, but you know, we'll have to wait a long time to find out whether that's the case. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.